every now and again, a young adult fiction book comes along that doesn't make you... I mean, this is only book 1, but still, great track record so far. Really, the only thing groan-worthy is the back of the book. 2 men love her, the whole land fears her, only she can save them all. Ugh. Bad, bad publisher. No. Completely new to this series, which was recommended to me by the wonderful Christine from Pullin' and Bananas Books. Thank you. I know, it's kind of sad, right? Because these have been going on for a while now. But hey, no movie yet. So if this does get made into a movie, I can be like, yeah, I read the books before a movie came out, so I'm better than all of you. Which is such an accomplishment. There are a lot of things I want to say about this book, and unfortunately I can't say them all, but I'm going to do my best and break it down like I normally do. Characters, plot, writing. Characters. Selena is my homegirl. I'll be totally honest. I did not think I was going to like her, even a little bit. There's something about her in those first few short chapters that make you kind of say, really? This is the narrator that we're trusting? We're relying on this person to take us through the novel. But you grow to love Selena, like, instantly. It's very refreshing to read a female lead of her caliber. I read about plenty of strong, uber warrior gals, and they're great. But Selena isn't the typical monotone, emotionless killer that young adult fiction has kind of gotten in the habit of making lately. Speaking of which, time for a mini rant. Where does this character come from that's showing up in, like, everything nowadays? I think this stems from the popularity of the dystopian novel. Well, the most recent rise of popularity of the dystopian novel. After the Hunger Games became widely successful, we had more and more Hunger Games-esque books and more Katniss-esque female leads. Only the problem is, not as much talented writing behind the Hunger Games-esque stories, and especially not behind the Katniss-esque characters. Which leaves a bunch of leading ladies with something to be desired. So instead of Katniss's unspoken insecurities and quiet sort of calculating, but still totally well-written disposition, we somehow ended up with a bunch of fighting warrior chicks who feel no emotions except anger, somehow? In terms of progression when it comes to female characters, it's kind of a step backwards. End of mini rant. Anyway, here's what I love about Selena. She's a ruthless, cold-blooded killer and a human being. Wow. She has these faults that are usually attributed to those wishy-washy side characters. You know, the ones you don't really buy or care for. In either an attempt to make the main character look better, or a weak attempt to make this wishy-washy side character seem like they have more than one dimension, or for the sake of humor. Either way, it very rarely works out. You can't just throw personality traits at a side character. I mean, there's gotta be more than that in order for there to be substance. Selena has this terrible temper, she's stubborn, she's deceitful, prideful. Selena's no angel. Just for an example, I love the moment when Selena's trying to teach herself billiards and she just can't get it right, and so she freaks out and bites the stick. What's that stick called? Jordan! What's the stick in billiards called? Q! A+. So she bites down on the cue and just... And then Dorian walks in on her. It's a really funny scene. This is the main character here, people. Don't let other young adult fiction books deceive you. You know, that conversation that's in every young adult fiction book where the female will say something snappy at the male because the male said something rude, and the male's like, goodness, you have quite a temper, don't you? That's not a temper. Biting a cue and wanting to snap it across your knee. That's a temper tantrum. And Selena is a talented assassin. Her pragmatic thoughts make sense. They don't feel fabricated. It seems like there was a lot of research that went into writing all her tricks and techniques. I wouldn't be surprised at all. You can sort of tell when an author is just winging it when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, have you ever read a book where an author did not do a shred of research on swordplay and you can tell? This doesn't feel like it. I mean, if she did it, then Sarah Maas is just really talented. But you can tell that a lot of work went into this. That's important. Selena's very aware of herself. She knows what she's good at. She knows that she's hot. And she uses this to her advantage to get people to underestimate her. And it works. Selena is refreshing. I love her so much. She kind of just does what she wants. It's really fun to see. Now, one of my biggest problems with this book is definitely Dorian's character. He's not terrible, but he pales so much in contrast to everyone else. Now, I'm only on book 1, of course, but unlike Selena, he fits into his character trope like a glove. Come on, tell me you haven't read at least 10 or 12 or 50 other Dorians and other books. You probably have. I mean, if you read young adult fiction, then you have ran into a dozen Dorians. Dorians. English, right? He's really not unlike all the other awful princes with their awful fathers who end up having a secret heart of gold, who want to actually be good to the people, unlike everybody else in the royal court. For those of you who have read the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson, let's use Ellen Venture as an example, because it's probably the best example I can think of. There's nothing wrong with character tropes. They exist for a reason. They're everywhere. Some of the best written books ever have these tropes, and there's nothing wrong with them, but you have to add dimension to these tropes or else they are just cliches. There's a difference between a trope and a cliche. So Ellen Venture, a typical trope made atypical by adding dimension and believable reason to ascend from royalty. Dorian lacks something to be desired here. His attitude, motivations, personality, it all kind of just felt like it lacked depth. Oppositely, I loved Kale, which, by the way, his name is not pronounced Chow. Way to go, Cassidy. Whom we slowly got to know. We see Kale just about as much as we see Dorian, and he talks half as much. And yet I feel like he is such a well-rounded character in contrast. Kale is a person, just like Selena. And it's implied that there's plenty more to learn from him, whereas with Dorian it feels like, yep, that's it, that's the story, that's all the character development you're gonna get, and now we're just gonna string him along with the plot. Again, first book, that's just the vibe I'm getting. I don't know if I'm explaining all of that properly. I just feel like Dorian could have been written better. So far, I'm a little honest, I'm sad that there's any love triangle at all. I don't really feel like the story needs it. It probably would have worked out better if Dorian and, Selena got to know each other a little more and didn't get together until one of the later books, and that Kale and Selena are just good friends. Like, I would have liked that, or vice versa, or neither. But seeing as that is not the case, I totally pick Kale on the basis of great character development and having character development. Same with the king. He kind of just seems evil for the sake of being evil, but we don't see him near enough for me to make a proper judgment yet, so we'll see where that goes. I loved Nehemia and her friendship with Selena, and I loved it. I'm sorry, I say Selena, Solana, whatever. I say her name different every time, but you know who I'm talking about. It's wonderful that there are solid relationships happening outside of this love triangle. That makes me happy. Now, don't get me wrong here. I hated Caltaine, mostly because her name was Caltaine. Like, could you make it any closer to Caitlin? I didn't know her name wasn't Caitlin until the very end of the book. Caltaine. Calton? Caleton. It sounds bad. It sounds like a foreign fruit. But anyway, I hated her, but I loved her. I love those little side moments where we got to see into her perspective. She wasn't just the bratty girl for the sake of being the bratty girl who wants the throne, which is also a very common character trope or cliche. No, there's motivation there. She's smart, she's cunning, she is ambitious. She's a Slytherin. Obviously, there are more characters than this, but we gotta go ahead and go to the plot. The plot is what caught my attention initially, because right off the bat, I knew that, while it isn't completely drastically different from every book ever, which is something that's incredibly difficult to do, its clever construction still makes it just more fun to read than the average young adult fiction. It's like an interesting combination between fae, magic, assassins, fighting, rebellions, and I don't know. I get this rad post-ancient war dystopian feel from it. I couldn't really sum it up in one word for you. Maybe the biggest issue with plot is it moved too quickly at times. I mean, I know there were a lot of contestants and challenges. But come on, we moved from challenge 2 to 14 in like a snap. I would have liked to see more of those in detail. I was ready for some Goblet of Fire type stuff. I would have liked to have seen more of those, and if that means the book would have to be longer, So be it. I felt the story warranted more length. It wouldn't have felt stretched thin or tedious. It would have been rich, continuous action. And hey, room for more development. Not a bad thing. Especially in the case of Dorian. Still, if you get tired of reading the same old thing over and over, then this plot is the way to go. Familiar yet unique at the same time. I'm pretty excited to see where it goes. I actually am not really sure what's gonna happen. Like, I've got my predictions, but I feel like as I get older, my guesses have more and more frequently become incorrect. I don't like that. I like being secure in my predictions, but lately I've just kind of stopped making them. I don't trust myself anymore. As far as writing goes, color me impressed. Sarah Maas definitely pushes limits because she can, and it pretty much always works in her favor. Other than Dorian's issues, I didn't feel like there was much else in this book that warranted serious fixing. Maas is clear and concise with her plot and her characters without it feeling like she's being short with us or trying to detach us from her characters. She's got a pretty good hold of her world, characters and plot, and I'm excited to see where that all goes. So far, solid. It's really kind of difficult to say, just from book one, how she is in terms of stability. We know about the world in which Selena dwells very generally, because she's been trapped inside this castle the whole time. But now we're going on to book two, and things are going to expand and get bigger, and we're going to be introduced to new lands and new people. It's going to be more than I heard the people in the White Fang Mountains are brutes. Because we're finally going to be able to see people. I mean, or I assume. So, I can't really judge that yet. And with good reason, it makes sense. With her individual storyline and where she is throughout the entire book, I mean, I'm not expecting to hear about the entirety of the kingdom in full description. So we'll see where that goes, but so far I have faith. Oh, I wanted to say this. Also, okay, I know this seems kind of dumb, but as a woman, I was pretty thrilled that it was mentioned that when Selena was gaining back her strength, her monthly cycles came back. Like, wow, did an author just talk about periods like they're normal because they are? Amazing. I mean, that shouldn't be amazing, but it is. Oh no, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that period talk belongs in every book with a female character ever. I mean, there's a time and place, you can't just throw it in there, it's weird. Because periods are weird, but time and a place, okay? Time and a place. Sometimes it just doesn't matter. But it seemed like so fitting for Selena to be like, get out, I have cramps and I hate you. Okay, so here's what I did. I ordered this online at Amazon.com, so you can get a pretty cheap paperback there if you're interested, or you can go to Barnes & Noble, you know, if you're not lazy like me and you want to put on pants and go to the store. Lucky you, huh? Bet you're just so productive. Well, I'm not. I shop online. So I read one of the reviews on Amazon that said the audiobooks of these are really, really good, and I checked on audible.com and most of them have a 4 out of 5, if not like higher, like a 4.5 out of 5 or 4.6, which is a pretty impressive feat for an audiobook because people tend to be really picky about them. And I've been kind of on an audiobook kick lately. Me and Jordan are listening to The Count of Monte Cristo, and I just forgot how much I love audiobooks. Just really useful when I'm at work or school or just walking around or running or whatever. They're just nice. So I'm downloading Crown of Midnight off of audible.com. I will tell you how I liked it as an audiobook in the next video, in case you want to know ahead of time if you want to read it yourself, or if you want to read along with me, you can go to audible.com, or better, go to audible.com/CashJ, because there's a promotion there. If you sign up for the 30-day trial, you get a free audiobook download. It's a pretty sweet deal. You don't have to get Crown of Midnight. This is just if you're reading with me. You can get whatever you want. Audible is a leading provider of thousands of titles. Do what you want. You're never gonna shake me. Sticks and stones are never gonna break me. So, like I said, literally thousands of titles to choose from. Do whatever you want. But just know that that's still a thing. You can go to audible.com/CashJ, and I'll put the link below, and 30-day trial, free audiobook. I don't know. If you're broke like me, free things are wonderful. Okay? In terms of things that are important to me, it goes like free food, free audiobooks, Jordan, I guess. So I'm gonna listen this time around, and actually comment below, tell me if you've listened to the audiobook, tell me what you think about it. It's been a really long time since I've read a young adult fiction on an audiobook, because they tend to not usually be super, so I'm pretty excited. Crown of Midnight, Crown of Midnight, Crown of Midnight.